A series of explosions rocked Crimea yesterday, destroying its key railway junction and a munitions depot, forcing the evacuation of thousands in the region. Ukraine has not directly claimed responsibility for the blast, but senior officials in military have reportedly implied Ukrainian involvement, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked people to be careful.
The reasons for the explosions in the occupied territory can be different, very different in particular. I quote the definition of the occupiers themselves, negligence, unquote. But all of them bear the same sense. The destruction of the occupiers' logistics, their ammunition, military and other equipment, and commanders' posts save the lives of our people. The fewer opportunities the occupiers have to spread evil and kill Ukrainians, the sooner we will be able to end this war by liberating our land. And the queue to leave Crimea for Russia across the bridge these days proves that the absolute majority of citizens of the terrorist state already understand, or at least feel, that Crimea is not a place for them.
Now, even though Ukraine has not claimed direct responsibility, its officials did not shy away from welcoming the blast and the loss that they have caused to their enemy. A spokesman for Ukraine's Air Force said that the explosions made them all happy.
As for those events, the enemy does not know how to use fire safety measures. But it definitely makes us all happy. Not only the military, but also the whole of Ukraine. It is clear that in addition to the 10+ planes that burned there, probably a considerable number of personnel were also destroyed. These are pilots and engineering and technical staff. Therefore, even if Russia can deliver new planes, there may be problems with specialists because their preparation takes much longer.
Now, Russia has blamed saboteurs for orchestrating the series of explosions at their munitions depot and annexed Crimea. It's a rare admission that armed groups loyal to Ukraine are damaging military logistics and supply lines on the territory. It further added that power lines, a power plant, a railway track and a number of residential buildings suffered damages. Huge fireballs erupted at the site in Crimea where ammunition was temporarily being stored, and clouds of black smoke billowing into the air could be seen.
We are now seeing an official statement from the Ministry of Defense that today's emergency was caused by sabotage. We already understand what is going on. More than 3,000 people have already been evacuated from the villages of Mayskoye and Azovskoye.
Now, the blasts have triggered evacuations not just in Crimea but also in the surrounding areas of Donetsk. Evacuees could be seen boarding trains to leave the place for safety after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky ordered mandatory evacuation of the region several weeks ago. Now, the incident follows a series of explosions last week that targeted a Russian-operated air base in Crimea. One person was killed, several more were wounded. The series of blasts last week similar to one that happened on Tuesday. Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 in the wake of massive nationwide street demonstrations in Ukraine that led to the ouster of Kremlin-friendly president. Let's also understand why Crimea is crucial for Moscow. Control of Crimea gives Moscow an upper hand in the war against Ukraine, as it helps Russia in supplying ammunition and reinforcements for its troops fighting Ukraine. It also allows Putin to dominate Ukraine from the south, where Crimea is located, apart from northeast and the southeast borders. Control over Crimea enables access to naval base at Sevastopol, home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which is crucial for its naval security. Now, for more on this, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant from Kiev. He's a defense expert at Baltic Security Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, senior officials, military, have reportedly implied that Ukrainian involvement was behind the cause for these series of explosions. What can you tell us about this?
Well, I think you need to see the whole thing of Crimea in context at the moment. In that first of all, the war in the East is still going on. And Russia is still pushing hard in from Donetsk area, Luhansk area, and the artillery battle there is huge. But they are also Ukrainians are also now pushing south to Kherson, and have tried to actually cut off a whole load of troops in the Kherson area, which they've done by blowing up 3 bridges. So this is an extension of that. In that what the general staff is doing is actually now persuading those people who are positive on their side in Crimea that they are coming back and that Crimea is going to be released from Russian hands, And so they're actually trying now to create this feeling of fear and worry inside Crimea, to put pressure on the Russian troops there and the Russian troops who are fighting against them north of Korea in Kherson.
Right, absolutely. In fact, I was just going to ask you that. Control of Crimea, as I mentioned, gives Moscow an upper hand in this war against Ukraine. And also, as you mentioned, they're trying to create a sense of fear and urgency here. So how do you see this playing out going forward?
Well, I think that the troops that are cut off, the Russian troops that are cut off in Kherson, will eventually have to give in, because they can't get back across the railway. So they can only be resupplied by pontoon bridges. And I'm fairly sure that Ukraine is not going to allow those pontoon bridges to keep going backwards and forwards for very long. But I'm not sure yet that the Ukrainians are ready for actually a full-out attack on the troops in Kherson, and they may want to wear them down for another period. What is interesting is that those troops cannot now be resupplied through Crimea, because one of the attacks was to destroy the railway line between Crimea and Kherson. Now, of course, you can repair railway lines, but if they can destroy it once, I'm pretty sure they can destroy it again. So the Ukrainians are beginning to break up the battlefield in the south in a way that must make the Russians extremely uneasy of what is going to come next.